Welcome to the Monday Morning Jumpstart. Hi, my name is Rory Peters, and I'm the founder and CEO of the Grow Your Business Like You Mean It live event. I'm a speaker, a sales and leadership trainer, and the author of Sell Like You Mean It. This week, we're going to talk about change. Now, I can already feel it. People start to get tense whenever change is brought up. See, as a rule, we don't like change. I think the main reason is we fear the unknown. We don't know what that change is going to be. Is that change going to be a positive change? Is it going to be a negative change? Is it something that we're going to be able to easily adapt to, or something that's going to be very difficult to adapt to? Is it going to be a benefit to us, or is it going to be a detriment? We don't know. But here's the simple fact. There is always going to be change. Right? The world is constantly changing. And here's what happens. If you don't change, you're going to be left behind. See, one of the keys to a high level, sustained level of success is change. Think about it. If your career, your business was selling record players, right? Now, for those of you who were born after 1980, my apologies, you may not know what I'm referring to, right? But for those of you who been around a little longer, right? We got record players. They played these records rather than CDs. The record spun. There was an arm that came across the needle. It dropped down onto the record. What if you were comfortable with that? Right? What if you really liked records? You thought that records were better sounding than CDs. And by the way, I would agree with that. And you were so adamant about that that you didn't want to change. You wanted to continue using your record player. You wanted to continue selling record players only, not CDs, not CD players, because you thought that the records were better, the record players were better. You didn't change. Well, you'd be out of business now, or certainly out of a job. What about if your job was selling 35 millimeter film? Right? Once again, if you didn't adapt when cameras went digital, you're out of business. Now, those are simple analogies, but they tell the truth. They tell the story. You have to change. And whatever your business is, whatever your career is, it is going to constantly be evolving. Or better yet, it has to constantly be evolving. Why? Because the world is constantly evolving. Things aren't the same 5 years later as they were 5 years ago. And if you're doing things exactly the same way now as you were 5 years ago, then you're not going to get the same level of success now that you had 5 years ago. Even back in the days when I first started selling electronics, when a brand new product came out, initially we made a lot of money on that product. It was brand new, new features on it, but eventually everybody got used to it. It wasn't so new anymore. The price started dropping, and we could no longer make money on that product, at least not much, until the next product came out. And then it was new with new shiny features, and we could make money on that. Well, if you didn't adjust as a salesperson to all the new products coming in, to very quickly pick up the new products, the new features, and how to sell them, you'd be left behind. There is no industry, there is no job, there is no career where that is not true. See, here's the problem. A lot of people like to feel comfortable. That, by the way, is one of my least favorite words in the English language, comfortable. It's great for shirts, shoes, not so much with life. Do you want a comfortable relationship? Or do you want a fun, interesting, passionate relationship? I mean, if you could choose, I want to be in a relationship that's comfortable, or I want to be in a relationship that's fun and exciting and interesting, I think we're going to go with the fun, exciting, interesting, right? But the simple fact is, in life, that requires effort. See, the comfortable is easy. Most of the time it requires not doing anything. But to have the more interesting, the fun, the exciting of anything, whether that's your career, your business, your relationships, your physical health, your finances, whatever it is, that requires work, that requires effort. And too many people would rather just be comfortable. See, but they think that if they have attained a certain level of success, right? I've hit this level of success, that if they're comfortable there, that they'll be able to stay at that level. And the fact is, you won't. Because what's happening is the world is constantly changing. So the amount of work that got you this as time goes on, is going to get you this and this, because new things are happening, new ways of doing things are coming out, and they require work and energy to learn those new things so you can maintain the level of success that you've enjoyed. By doing the status quo, you actually fall behind. Let's take another simple example. If you make a certain amount of money right now, let's say you make $100,000 a year right now. That gets you a certain level of enjoyment. There are a certain level of things you can buy, certain level of services you can have access to. You can afford a certain type of house and a certain type of car, right? You're making $100,000 a year. What if you made $100,000 a year 20 years from now? So 20 years from now, you're still making $100,000 a year. You haven't dropped any money at all. You're still making $100,000 a year. Well, because of inflation, because of change, that $100,000 is not going to buy you the same level of house. You're not going to be able to afford the same kind of house. You're not going to be able to afford the same type of car. You're not going to be able to take the same kind of trips, because that $100,000 is not going to buy what it did 20 years ago. That's a simple analogy, but it is the way the world moves. So one of the things you have got to embrace, not just say, okay, but actually embrace. If you want the kind of sustained, high-level success that you want to enjoy, you've got to embrace change. You've got to be looking for the change. And when the change starts happening, you've got to be one of the early adapters. You've got to figure out how you are going to benefit from that change. How can you maximize that change? And sometimes you may want to be the one promoting the change. Because if you find something really cool, some new aspect of a particular product or service that nobody's seen before, and it's very beneficial, everybody, and you promote that, you're on the head of the curve of the change, and everybody has to catch up with you. But they will have to change. Selling 35mm film doesn't work anymore. You have to change your business to adapt to the digital world. Right? There'll be a time when selling gasoline-fueled cars is not going to be a business anymore. The cars will run on something else. That's going to happen. There's a good chance that our houses are going to be running on some kind of natural energy down the road, right? Solar, for example, is becoming more and more popular. That may eventually be the way everything goes. But you can sit back and say, well, I know that everybody's going to solar, and yeah, it's cheaper and all that, but I don't want to do that. It requires too much work and too much effort. I'm just going to stay where I am. I'm comfortable here. Again, you'll be left behind. Now, these all have been very simple analogies, but the simple fact is the world is constantly changing. And if you do not change, if you do not adapt as the changes are coming, you will be left behind, whether that's your career or your business. Change is an exciting thing. Now, I'm lucky in some senses that because I get bored easily, I like change. Now, I'm going to admit that not all changes are good. There are changes that suck. They were done wrong, wrong idea, wrong implementation, whatever the case might be, and we're going to have to make another change to fix that. And that happens. But a lot of the changes are good. It's just a matter of, are you willing to embrace them? Are you willing to do the work, put out the energy to learn that change, to make that a part of your life, your business, your career, whatever the case might be? Because whether you like it or not, the changes are coming. And you're going to have to accept that, or you're going to be left behind. Again, in your career, in your business, in your health, in your finance, it doesn't matter. If you don't embrace change, you're going to be left behind. And whatever level of success or life fulfillment you have, it's going to diminish if you don't change and adapt to what's coming down the road. So my recommendation to you is embrace change. That doesn't mean you have to constantly be looking for it, but as changes are coming, figure out if that is a change that is going to help your business. And if it is, how can you use it to benefit your business, to benefit your career? And make the energy, make the move, do the work to adapt that change. Because in the long run, it's going to serve you well. And if you're one of those people that pretty much goes with the flow, you can handle change. You can adapt as the world moves and grooves. that's going to be a good thing, because again, that's going to help you not only maintain the level of success that you had, but grow that success, because you're able to adapt to things that are coming down the road. Embrace change. I hope you enjoyed this video. Next week we'll have a brand new topic for you. I hope you have a fantastic week, and I'll see you next Monday.